Hello, 6th grade. This is our second video over multiplying decimals, and in this one we're going to be multiplying decimals by other decimals. And just a reminder that you don't line up the decimal points when multiplying. We figure out where the decimal point goes at the end once we're done multiplying all the digits in our numbers. So to find the number of decimal places in your answer when you're multiplying two decimals together, you first count the number of decimals places in each factor. Okay, and factors are just numbers that you multiply together to get products. So each part of a multiplication problem, the two numbers that you're multiplying together are the factors. The total number of decimal places that you count is the number you should have in your answer. So we're going to practice this and see how this looks in a few examples. So number one, we have 4.2 times 3.5. Again, we're going to use our estimation skills, okay, to think what this might be close to. So 4.2 is close to 4, 3.5 is also close to 4, so it makes sense that we should get something like 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay, we won't get exactly 16, but that's a good approximation for what we might get for our answer. So 4.2 times 3.5, we're going to treat for the moment like 42 times 35, and then we'll take care of those decimal places at the end. We need to first multiply our 5 times 2, which is 10, carry our 1, 5 times 4, which is 20, add 1, that is 21. And then this is two-digit multiplication, so now I'm going to add a 0 to the next line and multiply by 3. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 4 is 12. And so once we get to this point, then we add down the columns. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 plus 2 is 4, and we bring down our 1. So the question is, where does our decimal point go? Well, if you count the number of decimal places in your factors, we had one decimal place after or to the right of the decimal point here in 4.2, and we had one to the right of the decimal point in 3.5. So that's 1 plus 1, which is 2 total decimal places we should have to the right of our point in our answer. So 0 would be our first decimal place, 7 would be the next one, so our decimal point should go here between the 4 and the 7. So our answer should be 14.70. Ask yourself, does that make sense? Is 14.70 close to 16? Yes. Okay, it's a lot closer than 1.4 or 147.0 would have been, so it makes sense that that's our answer. And because that ends in a 0, you can just write that as 14.7. That would be the same thing. Okay, let's try 3.5 times 0.006. So let's first of all estimate and see what our answer should be close to. So 3.5 times 0.006, 0.006 is really close to 0. So this answer is probably going to be really small. It's going to be closer to 0 than anything else. Okay, it's going to be not exactly 0, but it's going to be a pretty small number. Okay, so I always like to put the decimal that has the most digits to the right of the decimal point on the top. That's just me. So I'm going to put my 0.006 on top here, and then my 3.5 on the bottom. And again, we're multiplying, so notice how those decimal points don't have to be lined up. In fact, for the time being, I'm just going to ignore them. And I'm going to pretend like this is the number 6 times 35. So we're going to multiply 5 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30, and I'll carry my 3. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3, and then 5 times 0 here is 0. Going on to my second line, I put a 0 in the units place, and then I multiply by 3. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry my 1. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, and then 3 times 0 is 0. So I'll add, and I get 0. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carry a 1. 1, 0, and 1 is 2, and then a 0 here. let's count the number of decimal places we had in our factors. So in 0.006, we had 1, 2, 3 decimal places after or to the right of the decimal point. Here we had 1. So we have a total of 4 decimal places we need after the point in our answer. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So our decimal point should go here to the left of this 0. So we end up getting 0.0210. Remember that this 0 here isn't necessary. You could just write this as 0.0210, but do make sure you have the 0 to the right of the decimal. Okay, number 3, we have 5.7 times 2.8. Let's estimate that. 5.7 is close to 6, and 2.8 is close to 3. 6 times 3 is 18, so our answer should be close to 18. It's probably going to be less than 18. Well, it is going to be less than 18, since 5.7 and 2.8 both had to get rounded up to get this. So, set this up like so. And we're just going to treat this like 57 times 28. So 8 times 7 would be 56. 8 times 5 is 40, plus my 5 is 45. On the next row, add your 0. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Add straight down your columns. We get 6, 9, 5, and 1. And now we count our decimal places. We have 1 decimal place here, 1 decimal place here, so that means our answer needs 2. There's 1, there's 2, 15.96, which is not too far away from 18. Number 4, 4.12 times 0.05. 0.05 again is close to 0, so we're going to get a small number for this one. 1 probably smaller than 1. So here's how I'll set this up. Again, your decimal places do not have to be lined up. It just so happens that for this one they end up lining up, but they don't have to be lined up. In fact, don't try to line them up. If it happens to line up, then it happens. So we're going to take 5 times 2, which is 10. 5 times 1, which is 5, and add 1, which is 6. 5 times 4, which is 20. On the next row, we'll add in a 0, and then we're going to have lots of zeros. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. So we end up getting a 0.602 down here in our answer, and we count the number of decimal places we had. There's 2 in this factor, there's 2 in this one, so our answer should have 4 decimal places, 4 digits to the right of the decimal point. So our answer will be 0.2060, or you could actually just keep that as 0.206. Okay, on the back side, number 5, we have 0.014 times 3.7. What I would like you to do is pause the video, try this one all on your own, and then once you have an answer, click play to check to see if it's right. Okay, so did you estimate? Did you find that your answer should be close to 0 when you estimated 0.014 times 3.7? Well, we do get an answer close to 0. It should be 0.0518. Check your work here against mine, and if you did not get this, see if you can find where your mistake is. If you can't, make sure you circle or star this one so that you can ask your teacher the next time we see you in class. Okay, last example on these notes is a small application or a word problem. It says a certain car can travel 28.45 miles with 1 gallon of gasoline. The gasoline tank can hold 11.5 gallons, and we want to know how many miles can this car travel on a full tank of gas. Okay, so this is a classic multiplication problem. You know how far you can get on 1 gallon, and you know how many total gallons your gas tank holds. So to find how many total miles, okay, you can get, you need to multiply the amount you get with 1 by the 11.5. This is a multiplication problem of 28.45 miles times 11.5 gallons. Okay, it's sort of like if you went to McDonald's and you knew a Big Mac costs $2.50. How would you figure out how much 10 Big Macs would cost? You'd multiply 2.5 times 10. Same thing here. Miles times gallons. Okay, so we're going to take 28.45, multiply that by 11.5. And this time we're going to have 3 rows in the bottom here that we'll have to add together because we're multiplying by 1/15 or 11.5, which is like 1/15, 3 digits. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. There's my first row. I'm going to erase so I don't confuse myself when I do my carrying next. I'm going to add my 0. 5 times 1 here is 5. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 2 is 2. Next line, I need to add 2 zeros. And now I'm going to multiply by 1 again. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 2 is 2. So when all is said and done, I get a 5, 7. 5 plus 4 plus 2 is 11, so carry a 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 8 is 13, plus 4 is 17. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 8 is 12, and then 2 plus 1 is 3. By the way, if you missed something, that's the beauty of these videos. Rewind, okay, and re-watch or re-listen to what I said if you missed anything in the work on any of these videos. So our first factor had 2 decimal places, 1, 2. Our second factor had 1 decimal place, so our answer should have 3. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. So 327.175. And I didn't estimate at the beginning. I probably should have done that. Let's think if that makes sense. 28.45 is close to 30. 11.5 is close to 10. 30 times 10 is 300. So 327.175, yeah, that's pretty close to 300 in the grand scheme of things. So we need to put this in a sentence, and we can say the car can travel 327.175 miles. Okay, any questions you had over this video, make sure those are written down so you can ask those the next time we have you. Until then, have a nice day. 6th grade, you are all wonderful people. Take care.